Welcome everybody to the Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you by Sphons CCW, This and That Distribution, and Minerva Sportsmans Club. What have we got for you tonight? Upcoming classes. This weekend is Defensive Pistol. Saturday and Sunday starts 8 a.m. If you need a last-minute entry, then get on the website, get registered. There are a couple spots left in it. Concealed carry classes 3.7 and 3.28 coming up this month. So if you want to get in on one of those, head on over to our website and check that out. 5.16, 5.17 is pistol instructor. You do have to do both days if you're going to do that. Also up on the website. And then if you're already a pistol instructor, you want to start working on your defensive pistol skill set. Instructing skill set, personal protection in the home is 7-11 and 7-12. The 1st of March, we have a Circle X shoot at the Minerva Sportsmans Club. It's going to be 1 to 4, and everybody always has a really good time with that. So stop on out and have some fun. We always do some bird shooting and bring the little ones with you. Always have a lot of fun with the little guys out there shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Just set up, and if you guys are following the Second Amendment Sanctuary Movement, Thursday, March 5th at 6 p.m. is going to be the Carroll County meeting at the Sportsman's Club. So if you want to see what that is all about, then come on down to the Sportsman's Club, and we will have the club open and do the meeting there. I don't know what's on the meeting agenda because we just got this set up literally 2 minutes before the show started. So as we get more details, we will put them out to you. I think that's what we got. That's what we got for events coming up. Once again, guys, if you guys know of some events you want to get them on the show, let us know, and we will get them on the show. Shooting and training tips. We got this one, and you don't see this a lot on the range in people's cars, bags, whatever, is a first aid kit. Probably one of the better things to have when you're looking at going to the shooting range. We're not playing with the Barbies out there, so if something happens, you're going to need a way to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. A good trauma kit for I carry one in my car, everywhere. So whether I'm driving to work or going to the gun range, and we go over a lot about being prepared as far as defense situations and stuff like that, with firearms and knives, and telling everybody get training and learn to do stuff like that. Getting some first aid training is a good one too. Go through different organizations. Go through CPR. Stop the Bleed was a really good one. Shows you how to use tourniquets and stuff like that. Because chances are, everybody watching 1,000-fold has seen a car accident.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Or been in a car accident. So the amount of injuries and the things that you're going to see on your everyday, in your everyday life, you're more apt to use a first aid kit than anything else.
Right.
Plus, and it, like I said, a good trauma kit, stuff to stop, those, massive bleeding scenarios and stuff like that. But don't skimp on the Band-Aids either for all the little, the little nicks, scrapes, cuts. If you're out there training hard, you're going to end up with, skinned up hands and skinned up knees, and you might catch a slide and get some slide bite and just all them little things. And a lot of you outdoor guys, know that, you start digging around in thorns and stuff like that. And lo and behold, if you're going to put your hand down on the ground, that's where everything is going to be. That's going to stab you.
That's going to be where the piece of glass has been.
That's where
for 40 years
that is exactly where it's going to be. Mm-hmm. So you'll find it,
One thing I keep in my truck a lot. I'm out of it. I got to get some more, but especially in my first aid kit or truck or whatever it is a little bit of burn spray and bug repellent. I don't know how many times you guys been to the range. I know our range there's a creek next to it, so the mosquitoes can get pretty thick from time to time. But a little bit of bug spray just makes your life that much easier.
Yeah, I actually got off the bang. I got a toddler, so I keep the thing of little kid bug spray it's got like SPF in it.
Yeah,
it just lives in my truck.
Yeah, certainly.
And yeah, that's a good one. Down there at the Sportsmans Club, the mosquitoes would get thick enough to carry you away sometimes.
Sometimes they do. And when it comes to first aid kit, guys, like he was talking, don't be skimping on it. Make sure you have a good quality tourniquet. Cat style is about the most popular. When you're looking at these tourniquets, make sure that they have a fiberglass or aluminum windlass on it. There is a lot of imitation tourniquets out there with a plastic windlass, and they just don't provide the pressure to stop the bleeding when they're needed. And if you folks out there ever get an opportunity to take a stop the bleed class, we would strongly recommend it. It's a good class, and it will wake you up to the amount of pressure that takes to stop the bleeding when you're dealing with a tourniquet situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just something that a lot of us don't think about. And it doesn't have to be a gun accident. You can fall down and break a leg and have a compound fracture, and that first aid kit's going to save your bacon.
Oh, I was reading a couple the other week of people on vacation. It was just an article about this couple. They were on vacation, and she stepped off. Basically, was 45 minutes off the cruise ship and fell down and broke her leg in Egypt.
Yeah, well, that's a heck of a place to break.
Yeah. And so stuff like that happens, and like I said, car accidents, bike accidents, stuff like that. You take your kids to the park, and they go, getting off the track into the cinders with their bicycle. Having that first aid kit, handy and readily available is something good, and I guarantee you will use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you use something out of it, replace it.
Yeah,
because certainly
you're going to need it again.
Yep. So we go on and on and on the show about training with your gear, making sure your gear is going to work. When you need it is not the time that you find out that it's not going to work well. And this is a little bit of an older video, so we're going to bring this one up. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. But there's a few things in here that you're going to notice. Essentially, what's going on here is the fella here in the middle of the screen is the homeowner. Obviously, he is armed. These two guys here decided that they wanted to try and rob him. Now, I don't know if this fella here or this fella here knows that he is armed, but they're going to find out real shortly. And let's play this and see what happens. So the guy throws the hose down, and as you can see, he has trouble getting the gun out of the holster. And then when he does get the holster completely off his belt, he has to pull the holster off the end of the gun. Now, I think this particular situation here, the mistakes start very early on. He's gotten rid of the hose, which is good. Now, I can't tell whether this holster has got a snap or some type of retention on it. But what you can see is, as he's pushing down here, this is a total gear failure. Look at his belt. His belt is sagging
right away from him.
The holster obviously isn't doing what it's supposed to do.
Or the belt.
The other thing that he's doing is not. He's coming forward.
Yes.
He's not trying to gain any distance there.
No. And that was one of the things. He takes a couple steps back, but the only reason he takes a couple steps back is, I do believe, because he realized he can't get his holster out. Now, perpetrator A here, in the orange shirt, he must have seen the gun, so he decides he's got business in the next county and continues out of the screen.
He doesn't even get in his getaway
This guy
car.
here,
Wrong
this guy
house.
here is he is going through what we would call a force normalization and then an OODA loop. So force normalization is when somebody does or something happens so unexpectedly that your brain has to normalize it and process it and then really figure it out. And then we go into this what we call OODA loop situation, where it's essentially observe, orient, decide, and act. So you can see he hasn't moved. He's still staring at this dude.
He's still observing.
He's still in the observance phase. So the guy takes a couple steps back. Now he's created about maybe 10 or 15 feet distance here. And then this guy just turns around and casually moseys on over to the car. At that point in time, this fella has got the gun and the holster in his hand. Right here is where an armed homeowner could make some very bad mistakes. We're gonna give kudos to this homeowner for not opening fire, because both of these guys are headed away. But here's where he makes a bad mistake. He follows them into the yard. He should have kept going outside of this screen behind this rock wall. When this guy opens the car, you can see there's somebody else in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then he continues around the tree. Had shots been fired, the problem with this advancing technique is the prosecutor can try and move to a point saying that you weren't scared for your life because you were actually advancing on the target. A little bit of backstory on this. The guys apparently had a knife or something that they were trying to rob people in the area. And perpetrator A in the orange shirt, who took off running, ran over to the neighbor's house, jumped the fence, and then got shot.
Oh.
So it didn't work out for him all that well anyway.
Apparently, by the bottom caption here, by the
Suspect shot while
running from officers. So apparently, after the police showed up, they
from officers. Okay.
Yeah, see, I guess from what the article stated was he ran over to the neighbors and was hiding there, and this other dude was running away, and the neighbor figured out he was in the backyard because the neighbor was in his own backyard. And then the guy jumped out. He had some kind of weapon. Well, the neighbor shot him, and he tried to jump back over the fence, and the police caught him. So neither one of these two upstanding young individuals got away. They were 15 and 17 years old. So they're starting early. But we just got to be mindful that, our gear works. Before you're going to do anything, leave the house, leave the range, whatever, you got to get dressed up in all your gear and go and make sure that it's going to work. If you have a holster, and there is an entire gamut of holsters out there from $8 to $80 or $100.
$100, $180. Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not really holster. I don't have a holster preference. I'm not, I'm not going to tell you this brand is better than this brand, because we see so many different folks. We see so many different lifestyles and things like that. But we are all about quality holsters that stay attached to your belt, hold the gun securely, won't break if you fall down, if you're in an altercation.
cover the trigger guard.
Cover the trigger guard. So if you can afford and are going to have something that has some type of lock on it, make sure that you can use the lock when needed. Now, I don't know if this guy's holster had a lock on it, but it sure seemed like it had a retention strap or something that he could not get undone before you got the entire holster off from.
Either that or he had the passive retention screwed all the way down or
something. There was something going
on there. And well, and then you can also watch when he went to draw the belt drooping the belt, his pants, the whole 9 yards back down and then coming back up.
So obviously the attachment device, if it was a paddle or a clip of some sort, it didn't match up with the pants and the belt.
A lot of that too is having a durable belt that'll hold you also.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that's got some, substantialness to it, I guess. I don't know if that's even a word, but
them cheapo nylon belts.
The cheap, the Walmart belts, even some of the wider belts that you go find at, some of the box stores and clothing stores and stuff like that. They don't have any, you can flex them real hard and they'll fold up and you need something that's stiff and rigid, and on top of being able to make your gear actually work, it's going to make carrying that pistol so much more comfortable.
Oh yeah.
If it's always drooping and yanking your drawers down and everything.
Between that and the belts folding, and they tend to want to do the lean out and all that stuff on a cheap belt.
And that's why obviously we're firearms trainers. We advocate going out and getting professional training. But in this particular situation, it's apparent that there was a very low level of training, if any, kind of a low level of forethought now,
and low level of quality gear.
It worked out for the guy. I mean, he did what he needed to do in the circumstances at hand. But if one little minor detail would have changed, I don't know if that circumstance would have worked out the same.
Right, you change one thing.
Yeah, it was
if that guy that started running away had had a gun and drawn it too, it could be a whole different situation.
Yeah, even a knife at that distance.
Well, it was a good thing that they all decided that. Well, I guess we've got business in the next county over to.
Certainly. Well, it was actually the neighbor's house that they decided.
Yeah, right.
As hide and go seek game didn't work out real good.
No, it did not, and it did not work out very well. So yeah, quality gear, quality tactics,
quality training.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go out and shoot 150 or 200 rounds to train with your gear. You can do it at home with your good gear. You can do it, draw and acquire your target and stuff. Dry fire.
Yeah.
Just practice with it. Don't wait till that situation occurs like that guy did, and you find out it doesn't work. Then you're in trouble.
And dry practice is a good one because you're in the comfort of your own home, and you kind of you set your little spot up. You got your safe place, your safe your safe direction. Your gun's dry. You can work on the. You got your if you got a cover garment or whatever you're wearing and all your gear, you can work on it and do the nice slow. And build those build those muscle memory repetitions in the comfort of your own home.
Right.
And
certainly.
Get
and never fire a shot.
Get clear in the garment and acquiring the sights and the picture and all that stuff.
Right.
In
free.
Yeah, free. For absolutely free.
Yeah. So you just gotta get after it.
Yep.
All right. So we got some news we're going to try and bring up here for you. Make sure that we got this fella. So, now don't laugh. This guy here, last week we talked about several inmates that escaped a low-level facility from the Canton area, and looks like this fella was one of those particular guys, and they found him. So apparently we're down to,
Looks like he found some pavement at one point in time.
well, yeah, I don't know, something going on with his head there. But he was one of the 5 accused of breaking a window to escape the community correction facility last week. Apparently, federal agents say they arrested the third of 5 men who broke a window out to escape the Stark Regional Community Correction Center. Michael Fisher, 30, was arrested without incident around 6 p.m. Thursday at a home at 1300 block of Stark Avenue Southwest, according to Canton Police Lieutenant Dennis Guerin, and the news release from the U.S. Marshals Violent Fugitive Task Force. Agents also warned family and friends of the men may face criminal charges if they try to hide the 2 men who remain at large. You know, it says he was taken into custody without incident, but this big old gash on his head tells me otherwise.
Well, I
That's
guess
probably
there's
what they
another
used to
woman,
break
a
the window
woman
in the
now
first
too.
place.
What's that?
Probably used his head to break the window in the first place.
That maybe.
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 The gash looks consistent with a window.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or pavement burn.
Yep. Now there was, and I don't think I have it up here, but we did have another news report that another woman got out of the same window earlier in the week here.
No, she was out on work release, and she just never went back.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I think this Canton Correctional Facility needs to do a little better job on their security. I mean,
Yeah, something.
this one's a pretty nasty one. Shaker Heights man posing as an Uber driver is arrested for rape. Shaker Heights man impersonating an Uber driver is accused of raping a woman in his car. The young woman was leaving downtown bar on West 6th and called an Uber because she'd been drinking. When the car pulled up, it looked like the car on her app. When she asked if the driver, if he was her Uber ride, he said yes, told her to get in the front seat. If you're traveling alone, Uber encourages you to sit in the back seat so it's easier to get out of the car in case of emergency. Check for child locks every time you open the back door in an Uber. It's definitely startling to hear that, said Bridget Cunningham. We live right across the street, so you know this is our neighborhood. Just kind of an awareness factor, too. I easily could have been in her shoes. It makes you think for a second. According to a police report obtained by 19 News, the victim fell asleep. That's when the driver headed towards his home in Shaker Heights. Before he got there, an Ohio State trooper pulled him over for driving with his lights off. The report states when he got out of the car, his pants were unzipped. Police say he first claimed to be the woman's Uber driver, but when asked for his credentials, he admitted he was lying. Police charged 35-year-old Monty Nath with rape. And it says here, I wish her friends would have made sure she got in the right car, said Cleveland resident Wendy. I can't pronounce that last name. Aramazic or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, always double check. Apparently, this particular girl was too inebriated to take care of herself at that particular point in time. So,
Well, it's getting a lot more common too.
But you gotta like
Uber
and Lyft.
Yeah.
And,
if you when you get a if you call for an Uber car, like it gives you vehicle, make, model, should get the driver's name, and I think their license plate number.
Yes.
One of the big concerns I have lately is some of these newer vehicles. I know that some of the GMs have electronic child safety locks now that the driver can activate.
Yeah.
So that they're no longer the flip levers on the doors. That's where I think having one of them. I think we reviewed them brought them up on the show. A few weeks ago. Those little rescue me things.
Break the window.
They have a glass breaker on them. So, you're trapped in a vehicle, whether it's whether your vehicle's stuck in a snow ditch or a situation like this. Boom! You can smack. You can break a window out of it. It doesn't matter if it's a front window or a back window. It's coming out. So,
right.
And this next story may or may not decide it's going to open. It's just kind of gone wonky here. It says, essentially, the Columbus City Council wants to stiffen penalties on folks who have brought their gun past the security checkpoint at the airport. At John Glenn Columbus International Airport, 29 guns were found at TSA checkpoints last year. 82% of them loaded. 26 were found in 2018. Says in here, passengers may travel with guns. That's absolutely correct. Make sure that you follow the TSA guidelines. You can click on the hyperlink right here and get that. You also have to follow the airline guidelines. So what's going on here is the current code employs a knowingly threshold, meaning that the criminal charges require the authorities show that an individual had the intent of carrying a firearm through the checkpoint. The vast majority of people caught with the guns tell TSA officers they forgot they had the often loaded guns on them or in their carry bags. Yeah,
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, they need to do a better job of making sure their stuff is out of it. I mean, whether or not we feel like we should be able to take our gun on the airplane or not is a whole different story. You need to at least comply with the law. Otherwise, you're going to spend a pile of money trying to get out of this.
I could possibly maybe get the bag, but you're forgetting that you got a gun on you.
Yeah.
Where have you been leaving that thing?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
No kidding.
Where have you have it on your? Where have you had it on your body?
Yeah. So this says conviction on a charge could result in a year in jail and a $750 fine. If they are found reckless, if they are found that they knowingly bring a firearm into the airport. Now, this says into the airport. Now, you're allowed to take the gun into the airport, just not past security, providing it isn't government-owned facility, which it sounds like the Columbus International Airport is. But they say if the gun's loaded, the person faces a fine starting at $4,000, which I think that's a little ridiculous. That's just...
Yeah.
It says here at the bottom of the article, a TSA fines gun violators $4,000 or more, but does not publicly release the names of violators, citing privacy reasons. No representative of the TSA spoke at the hearing.
So this sounds like now that statement sounds like something for the Columbus area to be able to release names of.
It does, and that's why I brought it up. You shouldn't be releasing those names.
Now they're going to be able to, through that report, they're going to be able to tell them, well, they had this license, this is who they were, this is where they, all this other information that.
So we got HB 378 coming out here, and I got this News 5 Cleveland. I forgot to mention, guys, if you want to go back and check out any of these articles, they are absolutely, every one of them is in the video description. So head on over and check them out. This is from News 5 Cleveland, and we can summarize this particular article, as the notification bill. A Republican-backed bill in the Ohio House of Representatives seeks to modify the rules for what a concealed carry permit holder must do when pulled over by police. Current law stipulates they must promptly inform law enforcement officer of the fact they're carrying a concealed handgun. Gun rights advocates take issue with the use of the word promptly. They say this definition is vague, too dependent on interpretation, and leaves Ohioans unfairly susceptible to prosecutorial abuse. Now, we have had plenty of examples where this particular law has been abused, and I'm sorry, I misspoke on the... No, I didn't. It's 378. There's another House Bill 425 reflects another attempt by Republicans to solve these perceived issues through more aggressive. Gun supporters want a complete repeal of the duty to notify law. There's only 13 states with the duty to notify. We're one of the minority of states that has got this duty. So we do have evidence of whether or not it works in other states. Most of the other states say that if you are asked by the officer and you lie to them, and then you're going to be charged with a crime. But if you're asked by the officer and you tell them you have a firearm, then it's no harm, no foul. So HB 425 removes the promptly definition, mandates the driver must display their concealed carry license to an officer alongside other requested paperwork such as driver's license, insurance verification, or the driver can verbally inform the officer of their gun as its current practice. The bill also changes the penalty for failing to notify from being a first-degree misdemeanor to being an unclassified misdemeanor with a maximum possible fine of $25. I would like to see a clean repeal, but I would settle for this. I mean, $25. I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The bill sponsors State Rep Scott Wiggum of Worcester proposed a similar piece of legislation in the previous General Assembly. State Rep Scott Wiggum, Worcester, said several law enforcement groups, including the Fraternal Order of Police of Ohio, the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association, came out against the bill for allegedly putting officers' safety at risk. The 2017 bill passed the House with legislatures voting primarily along party lines. The Senate did not take up the bill. Wiggum is giving the issue another shot at the House Federalism Committee hearing on Wednesday. Supporters pointed out that 41 states did not have a duty to notify. Doug Deakins for the Ohioans for Concealed Carry Group called it a bad law and said the gun owners were treated like third-class citizens. There are many documented cases of this vague definition of promptly being used to harass concealed carry license holders, Deaker claimed. Several who testified offer reasons as to why lawful gun owners might not be prompt in notifying law enforcement. We've always wondered about incapacitation. If you are in a car accident or something like that, and you're incapacitated or knocked in a stupor or something like that. I mean, most of our officers are more than willing to use their prosecutorial discretion and not give you a ticket if you've been in a car accident. But there's been several cases where that has happened.
Well, when I got hit, the responding officer, the first one, the state trooper, dealt with that lady because eventually arrested for DUI about 20 minutes later.
Sure.
I didn't I tried to notify him because I had a gun on me, and he was more worried about her, but the fire chief actually ended up notifying him for me because as I tried to notify him, he kind of pushed me down in a way.
Certainly.
And then I notified the second state trooper that showed up.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, if the cop tells you not to do something, you either argue with him, which turns out badly for the regular citizen, or don't notify him, which turns out badly for the regular citizen. So there's a catch-22 there that you just can't seem to get out of. So hopefully at some point in time, moving on something like this. This article goes on to say the duty to notify topic has become a wedge issue between varying fractions of Ohio's pro-gun lobby. I don't see it that way. The most aggressive of these groups, Ohio Gun Owners, stands alone in opposition to HB 425 as it's currently written. The group's director believes the notifying requirement should be stripped entirely and not simply modified. I agree with him on this particular case. I think they should just repeal the thing totally. But like I said, I would settle for this if I had to, if I was made to. After testifying on Wednesday, Dorr spoke at length on the subject during the Facebook Live video. And we're not going to go into all of the rest of the stuff that he said. So, obviously, there's some friction between that group and the governor, and we're just going to leave that one at that. But if you want to read the article, head on over to the link in the description and check it out. So this is This is a crying shame case right here, and this is from the Alliance Review. A Greenwich woman was denied a protection order against a husband charged in her murder. So this goes on to tell us here that this 22-year-old Greenwich woman was found Tuesday in a wooded area on Bowman Street. She was denied a civil protection order last week against her estranged husband, who is accused of killing her. Alec Blair, 21, was arrested Tuesday and charged with murder in connection with the death of his wife. He remains in the Richland County Jail. Mansfield Municipal Court. John McAllister entered a not guilty plea on Wednesday morning for Blair, who attempted to plead guilty to the charge of murder, a felony in the first degree. By law, the magistrate cannot accept a guilty plea on felony charge. Okay, well, I was going to ask why. Why did he put not guilty if the guy was trying to cop to it? But he's a magistrate, so he can't do that. He's held on $1 million cash bond. So this young lady was reported missing 4:05 p.m. Monday to the Shelby Police Department by her friend Lisa Davis. Davis told News Journal she had known Clevenger for about 2 months and had let her stay in her house out of concern for Clevenger's safety. She worked at Bob Evans' restaurant on Trimble Road, where Davis' son Randy is the manager. When Clevenger did not show up for work or call off Monday, the crew at the restaurant became concerned. The Richland County Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with the Shelby Police, began investigating after Clevenger was reported missing by Davis. The couple were planning to divorce, it says. So, Blair's Jeep was found where he works, which authorities did not name, and evidence in the car led them to believe a crime had been committed, according to the news release. Davis said Wednesday he was told by Blair's family members that Clevenger had been stabbed to death Monday in Blair's vehicle. Major Joe Massey, the Richland County Sheriff's Office, said Wednesday he could not comment on the matter. And I think this is the article. Trying to skim it through here for you guys. Here we go. Clevenger had filed a protection order on January 22nd against her husband, but the Richland County Domestic Relations Court denied an ex parte order on that date, and the case was scheduled for a full hearing on February 5th. Blair did not attend the hearing, which was held to determine whether a full domestic violence civil protection order should be issued against Blair. According to court records, Clevenger claimed on the 22nd that Blair had been harassing over the phone, shows up at her house, breaks her things, screams in her face, shows up at her work and starts things to upset and embarrass her. The magistrate, Sharon M. May, said in her decision that petitioner Clevenger failed to testify to any facts of domestic violence. Rather, she presented 2 marked exhibits of social media messages sent to her by the respondent. The exhibits contain excessive profanity and discuss the parties' shared pets, but do not contain any threats of violence toward the petitioner. Clevenger had not contacted law enforcement regarding the messages and did not know the exact dates. Clevenger did contact law enforcement when she believed her residence was broken into. However, she said she did not see any individual who entered her residence at the time. Even though she was present at the time, she stated she believed it to be the respondent because there was no forced entry into the home, therefore assuming the entry was gained by a key. And we talk about this stuff at length, time and time again, that you are responsible for your own safety. There are steps that you can take whether you are a victim of domestic violence or not, but you have to take those steps. You cannot wait for the court to send police officers over to protect you, because first, they probably won't. It's already been ruled that they don't have a duty to protect you.
9 times in the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah. And the other thing, even if she had gotten a protection order,
Paper.
it's a piece of paper. Like, you can walk right over top of it. So it is time to take simple steps. And we do not want to blame her for anything, but we just want everybody out there to know that there's resources and things that you can do. For Pete's sake, simply change the locks. Would have helped this situation.
Right.
We talk about
Buy a dog.
yeah, we talk about at length different things that we don't like to see, like these red flag laws and things like that. And then something like this shows up, and the way the article's written, it's leading you to believe that the judge was wrong in not issuing that order, but we don't have all of the information. Maybe the respondent did not present any information that the person was violent whatsoever. The other thing is, judges, just like everybody else, they are just people. They can make mistakes. So if you couple those two things together, still go back to you're responsible for your own safety.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So,
And contrary to popular beliefs and what the Democratic debate told everybody the other night, government's not responsible for you.
no, absolutely not.
Government will not take care of you.
So, Virginia lawmakers reject Northam's assault weapons ban. This is a long one. We're not going to sit and read the whole thing, but they didn't really reject it. They just put it off for a year and let a committee go through and investigate the consequences of that. And I think probably the reason that they did this was because about, I don't know, 30, 40, 50,000 people showed up on the doorstep of the Capitol building a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Might have had something to do with it.
Official report, the stuff put out on the news media or whatever says 22,000, but if you look at the pictures, there's no way it was that few of people.
So we got this article at Fox News. This isn't a dead bill. This title in this article kind of leads you to believe that this is a dead bill. Yep, there we go. We got a picture of the rally right there. So go and check the article out. But it's been reviewed for committee, and it could come back. So we don't expect that to fare well next time either. But we are hoping it doesn't come back.
Well, and we brought this up last week for all of you, people out there watching. You got to go and vote.
Yeah.
Got all these counties now that are saying, well, we don't want this. Well, you need to vote. I saw a thing the other day about the 2016 election. The percentage of people, 49.9% of people didn't vote for their president.
Yeah, and even in that election, there in that Virginia, everybody's bitching. Well, the Democrats took it over and didn't vote. 32% was all that showed up.
All of you people here, it doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
Doesn't matter what state of the union. None of it matters. All of you need to go out and vote.
Absolutely.
And if you know somebody from Virginia, call them up and tell them to go vote. And tell them you can't just sit down and say, well, somebody else will, what difference does it make? My vote doesn't count. Your vote does count. You can see stuff like this. You need to go out and
if they need a ride, take them.
Yeah,
yep,
certainly.
Everybody, that's a constitutional right that millions upon probably billions of people around the globe would love to have just one shot to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And you, as an American citizen, like we said last week, almost every November, there is an election there is somebody in your town, your village, your township, your city, your county, your state, your federal government. There is somebody who is up for re-election, and you have the chance to go do that. can get your voice heard. Like I said, there's billions of people around the world that would give everything for one shot to be able to do that. You get to do it every year.
Yeah.
Go out and vote.
And you can't take it for granted.
So, as you can see, I kind of repositioned this so everybody could see it. And we could stay up here. This 2019 top 10 guns for women. You know, I already read this article, but I could have told them this long before they ever wrote the article. It's going to be the Smith & Wesson Shield Easy 380. I bet you.
I bet you.
So, well-armed woman. This is a pretty cool site. They got all kind of stuff there. They got all kind of cool articles for the ladies. So they surveyed 5,000 women of all ages from all over the country and shared their preferences. Top selling firearm brands were, oh, look, we're getting close. Smith & Wesson, Glock, Sig, Ruger, and Springfield. Now let's look at the most popular gun for women in 2019. And there we have it, Shield Easy 380. Yeah, as soon as this thing was released, the female population just flocked to this thing. And it shoots well, it's well made, it's very accurate, it's very low recoil, it's got a ton of safety features, it fits a bunch of hands, it's not uncomfortable if you've got big hands or small hands. It's just
big enough for somebody with big hands that you're not
Not fighting for room.
fighting for room.
And it's just small enough so that somebody with small hands doesn't feel like it's too big.
When the end of the year, they released it because when they first come out, they all had the mechanical safety and the backstrap safety and everything. Well, toward the end of the year, they did release them where they don't have a mechanical safety. Yeah. So if you're not into that, if you're more of want to go more with that slim line, no user activated safety, you can get them in that option too now.
Yeah. So we saw this coming a mile away. The amount of Shield Easy 380s that we see, that we sell, that come back. I mean,
yeah, it's one of them guns where if you're a couple and your wife is looking at one of those, don't let her shoot it.
Yeah, because
you'll buy one.
Yeah, it'll cost you.
You're gonna buy one,
whatever it is, and it'll cost you that money right then and there because she won't give it up normally. So, they do have it in 9mm. Although we're finding the 9mm is not quite as popular as the 380.
Yeah.
It's got just a hair more recoil to it, and I mean, if you haven't shot a Shield Easy 380 yet, you find somebody, beg, borrow, find one somewhere and shoot it. It doesn't have much more recoil than an M&P 22 compact, so that's how well they shoot. I can't say enough about this gun, and they work easy. But this is the one that I kind of figured would be next in line, but I didn't think it was going to be for the women's market, because I thought that the P365 was actually hard to operate compared to a lot of other
they got a pretty
things
stiff,
out there.
They got a pretty stiff slide on
them. They do shoot well. They're a really good gun.
They are a little bit bulkier on the width, so maybe being able to get a better, maybe it helps get them get a better grip on them.
So
everyone I've shot, it shot good. I couldn't get my hands.
Yeah, there was
just
put
my hands.
There wasn't enough real estate there.
Yeah.
But it's going to appeal to smaller-handed people anyway.
Right.
Glock 43. This one is the one that really surprised me. And it's got to be geographic area, because we have in stock Glocks and talk about Glocks and shoot Glocks and do all this stuff with Glocks, and it doesn't seem like there's too many people around here that come into our store that actually want a Glock.
Not a whole lot.
If I put a Glock 43 in my case, I can expect that I will have to clean the oil puddle up off the glass after it runs out of the slide, because it will sit there so long. And not that not that there's anything wrong with this particular Glock. They're phenomenal. I've shot a bunch of them. Glock 43 is actually, the 42 and 43 are probably, if somebody said, hey, you have to buy a Glock, what are you going to buy? It'd be a 42 or 43. Because I don't particularly like the 19s and 17 style Glocks, but here nor there, this is a good gun. I just, in our area, not only do we not sell them, we don't see a lot of them either.
No, even doing classes and stuff like that, we just don't.
You just don't see a lot of Glocks in this area.
Don't see a lot of them, not at all.
We
But
see more heritage revolvers than we see those.
Yeah,
actually we do. So if you're looking for a Glock 43, you probably can't go wrong with a Glock 43 if that's what you want and like. It's just we don't see a ton of them here. So, number 4, this one I'm kind of
surprised.
Figured.
I'm kind of surprised on that actual shield.
Yeah,
because them were. I mean, Corey, you had one. Them were pretty stiff guns to operate.
That's a real stiff slide on those. Yeah.
This was probably done before the EZ9 came out.
No, they said right there.
They mentioned. They get it mentioned on the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The thing about it is, though, I wonder if this is economics with this gun, because it seems like the original shields have been on sale for the last 3 years.
Yeah, they have been.
So that might play into
you
it.
buy one for $200.
Certainly. This one here was the one I was surprised the Glock 19 even made it to the list.
I'm surprised on that one because most of the women I know, when they carry. Most of the women I know that when they carry, it's a struggle to try and get them to carry on body, and when you do, you're into more of the the flashbang style holsters because they're carrying a smaller, lighter weight pistol inside of yoga pants.
Yeah.
So I find it hard. I just find it hard.
Well, maybe we're looking at this wrong. You need to go to the bathroom. You don't actually need to drop your pants. You just need to let go of your gun.
Yeah, because it's. It's a bigger, bulkier gun. That
I know that says women are buying these more, and this may be the natural progression from the top ones down to when they get some more experience. Okay, I want to go with a bigger gun.
Yeah,
and that's what it very well could be. We don't know
this could be the competition market invading the women's shooting market.
Yeah,
right here.
Exactly.
And this also could be reputation, the storied reputation behind a Glock 19.
Yep.
Maybe she's carrying a 43, and that one's in a nightstand.
It may be. It may be. I thought this was going to be higher on the list.
Yeah.
If you guys have shot any SIG 238s, they shoot really, really well, and they're not hard to operate. Initially, to get the hammer to cock back, when you start pulling the slide, it gets a little stiff, and then it kind of goes away. But and this one shows with pearl grips, but you can get all kinds of accessories on these things, night sights and lasers and
you name it,
lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! There's just a plethora of options in this one particular model.
Different models,
different colors and everything. I thought this would have rated high, but there again, though. This is the most expensive gun we've run across so far.
Yeah,
it's true.
They're going to range from $400 to $800, depending upon what model and accessories
you start adding the lasers and stuff like that. The price, especially if you get a green laser.
This is the one that now this doesn't say that this is the carry. What they're carrying, true. It's what they're buying. So. If this article would have said, hey, this is what the women are carrying, I would take a serious issue with this, because 22 is just not reliable, and we have shot and handled and dealt with a ton of these little Rugers. While fun, they're not carry reliable. They're a good gun. Don't be afraid to buy one, but it is not something you need to bet your safety on, because it will fail you.
No.
And that is all really mainly to do with the ammunition. But yeah, this is what they're buying. So kudos for buying something that's cheap to train with. Just I wouldn't carry this particular gun
If you're
ever.
buying the Shield EZ 380,
Buy an MP22 compact.
buy an MP22 compact because it's the same grip and the same operation and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can train with the 22, and you'll learn malfunction clearance because it's 22.
Yeah,
and
right.
This one was not super surprising, but kind of surprising. If they liked the 42 and 43,
I'm not surprised.
Like the 43X.
With the ranking of the 43. I'm not surprised about the X because it's just
got a longer
same.
grip.
You get it's the same basic package, the same slimness, everything like that, with just that long enough grip that it's not too big, but it's not too small.
This is the one that I took issue with.
I understand why it's there.
It's easy to carry. I get it. It's easy to carry.
And they're cheap.
Buy an LCP2, the trigger is 8,000 times better, and it's like 25 or 30 bucks more. And then, you alleviate that. The trigger's horrible. The slides don't stay back when you run out of ammunition. I don't think very highly of this gun. Is it reliable? Absolutely. But you're going to buy it new, and then it's going to be worth exactly half of what you paid for it 15 minutes later.
Well, and as far as the LCPs go, like we said, they're little.
The sights on them
they're
suck.
little and they're cheap, so they got real popular. Seen very few people on the range shoot one well.
Yeah,
man or woman, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Almost nobody shoots them well. They take just a ton of time, effort, and energy to get really good with one, and then you're still limited to it's this big. So
right, that's what I've seen several times. People will bring one of them to the range, and you got to go get your fingers out from front of the barrel.
Yeah,
get your fingers out.
Your hands are longer than the gun.
Yeah, your hands are longer than the gun.
This is the one that really surprised me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sig 3. Now they didn't break it down by models. They make compacts and X models and full sizes and on and on and on and on. But that one caught me off guard. Like 320s. Well, you think about it. I mean, it's a comfortable grip. It's got a nice single action trigger. The slide isn't too bad to rack. They have a great reputation. The warranty's awesome, and they're accurate and reliable. So why wouldn't
they're really priced not too bad?
No, they're the 320s are great guns. They're good, and like if you read in a little note, she says that it's a rather beefy gun, both sides of weight, so this is rather interesting. It could be perhaps a gun that women are purchasing to train with, just a guess. Yeah. Even the author doesn't really know. Like, could be like you said about the the competition side, getting into it. More and more and more women. I mean, we're getting more and more and more and more every class. Women taking doing concealed carry and getting higher level training. If you look coast to coast at all kinds of training organizations are getting more and more women, and a lot of the shooting sports is the women are like, hey, this is fun, I want to go play too, right? And so some of that could be getting into that.
So we got the stuff that didn't make the top 10 but should be noted. The Shield 2.0. I mean, I'm not outside of the Shield EZs, I'm not a Shield fan. I mean, they're a good gun, but it's just not something that trips my trigger. Glock 42, I was surprised that the 43s made it and the 42s didn't. Yeah. I actually like the 42 better than I like the 43. And this Smith & Wesson Shield M&P, that's the same as
the Shield.
The Shield. So
right.
The EZ9, probably really close to being to the release date. Not a lot of them out there yet.
Probably not.
Springfield Hellcat and Sig 938. The Hellcat comes in 380 and 9, and then a Sig 938, just exactly like a 238 and 9mm. The LC9S,
Don't make it anymore.
Yeah, but what they do make is the EC9,
Yeah.
and the EC9 seem to be really popular. So, and they've proven halfway decently reliable.
Yeah.
Kimber Micro. This is another brand that we see some problems with, but we don't see a lot of them. We just don't see a lot of the micro Kimbers. We'll see some full sizes from time to time, but we don't see a lot of the micros. So
Price
probably LCP2. I'd
have had that one above the LCP.
I'd buy the LCP2
Hands
way
down.
before the LCP. HKVP9. I don't think I've never handled one of those. I've seen them in a store a couple times, but that seems to be a really unpopular brand in our area. Waller PBQ and the Springfield XDS M2. We see a lot of the Springfield XDSs.
Yeah.
We don't see PPQs. I think that's just geography.
Oh, you had you had a CCT.
Yeah,
I had a CCP. So that was a nice gun, but you have an extra hand coming out your back to field strip it.
Yeah.
Sure. So that's what we got for news. What do we got for products?
New products first, I guess. Of course, Smith & Wesson coming out with an M&P 9 subcompact.
Yeah.
So about $500. But it's of course a double stack. But it's still got the standard M&P grip, full size M&P grip, 12+1. It is 10 in the subcompact mag, but it will take full size mags.
Yeah.
I sent sleeves with it, so that it increases the grip size.
You can go to the 17 rounders for your, you can
right.
put the sleeve on it, and I even do that with my first gen subcompact. These 17 round M&P mags. My first gen, I'll carry one of them as my backup, and the grip's a little bit goofy because you got this much of a the magazine sticking out of the bottom of the frame about like that, and there's no sleeve around it, but you still do get a little bit of a different grip on it. So
exactly.
plus I get the extra. I got 12 plus 17 that I can carry, so it's kind of a nice.
You need 29 rounds, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one is Winchester Wildcats. Looks like those are finally gonna get released, and you'll be able to buy them. 22 long rifle, semi-automatic, about $200. Kind of similar to Ruger 1022 box mag, 10 round box mag. 18-inch barrel, 36 inches total length.
Cool.
Should be something interesting to look at here shortly. And that gets us to products of the week.
What do we got?
First one. This is a comp tack. Somebody asked me about getting one of these a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month ago. It's an AR-15 Kydex mag carrier. And believe me, they are pretty pricey. But this is pretty good quality. And, we'll try one of our trusty men too.
That's short.
Yeah. I'm going to grab one of your 20s.
For the guys who like 20-round magazines.
Right. Get a 20-round magazine there. But
how much are these? $32.
$32.
Man, that's going to cost me $100.
But, they got a good retention on them.
20-rounders.
You got a screw that, you can
look
adjust
at
the
that.
retention on it.
No, you shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't have done that.
Well, there's one problem.
It'll only go on your belt.
It's a belt mount, so I can't molly mount it to my vest.
I'll bet you can figure that out.
You shut up a minute.
Maybe Comtac makes one.
They might.
I didn't see any.
I want to try one of the new HSDI Kydex ones. They look shorter. They look about that.
This is a super heavy duty thing here, man.
Yeah, that is some thick Kydex.
That's some thick Kydex on that baby.
I was playing around with this earlier. I really like the retention and the pull on it. It's
right.
It's nice. I like that.
It's a really high quality product
for that belt mounted reload. That's pretty sweet.
It is $32, but if that's what you're looking for, and then that's a good piece to have.
I don't think you'd break that thing.
Oh, you can. I don't think you can break it. You'd have to hit it hard or hit it with a hammer or something.
The magazine holder's as thick as the magazine is.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't break these, so.
but anyway, contact. You want one of these? Let us know. We can get you one. And we're gonna go on here to something we got just in just a little bit ago. Lucas gun oil. A lot of people swear by this stuff. Can't hang on to it. Environmentally friendly. It's rated for heat, water resistant, odorless. This just if you try some of this, you can check out the reviews on their website. I'm sure Lucas has been around for a long time, and now they're making product for firearms applications, and seems to be pretty good stuff. I put a little on my hands. It was like, oh man.
Well, I've got some of the stuff. That's the red. I've got some of the. They make a greenish blue.
Yeah.
They call it extreme lube or something like that, extreme gun lube or whatever. Yeah. And I've been running that for probably a year now, and I got the little bottle, and I mean a little bit goes a long way, and I mean that stuff is super slick, and I like it. It seems to be able to get the carbon off pretty well.
On these or one of them green ones, and you have it a couple of years. That's for less than $4.
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, this stuff's really good.
You can do a lot with it, So.
And what I like about it is I don't like heavy, thick gun oils.
Yeah. See, the green stuff is a lot. It comes out of the bottle a lot thicker, but
it stays on thin.
It stays on thin, and I haven't had any issues with it in cold weather.
Yeah, and that's where I have issues. I bought some of the I don't even remember what brand it was, but it was supposed to be the greatest stuff since sliced bread, and it was a really thick oil, and I had nothing but problems with it. And I mean, it got to the point I was shooting in the winter at one point in time, and I just pistol, rifle, whatever. I just took it out and hosed it down with the old cheapy Rem oil to wash the stuff off, and worked just fine. So
yeah, I
guess that's another range tip. Make sure your lubricants are going to work when it's cold outside.
Yeah. We see that quite a lot. People will oil their guns up before they bring them in for a class or something. If it's cold outside, they don't work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's all I got.
That's what we got, guys. Thanks for spending your time with us. Could have been anywhere else, but here listening to us ramble on. Once again, the Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you by Sphons CCW, Minerva Sportsmans Club, and thisandthatdistribution.com. Everybody enjoy your weekend and stay safe.